Today's session's chair, Deputy Governor, Bangladesh Bank, Honorable Chief Guest, Principal Secretary, BFID Secretary, PTRC Chair, distinguished speakers, including our keynote speaker, our panelists, fellow practitioners, and friends from the media. Good afternoon. It is wonderful to spend the whole of the first part of the day together to brainstorm on developing national financial strategy. Many thanks to DFID Bangladesh for being a close development partner and supporting our financial sector work. Today, we have gathered here to think together across and ahead. It has already been a very productive morning. I feel we have already achieved that goal to a large extent. I hope the panel discussions and also the open discussions will add more values to what we have already achieved by now. We have learned to a great extent where we came from, where we want to go, and what we can learn from each other and from other countries. Many thanks to all the presenters. Before I discuss financial inclusion, let me digress a bit, but for a reason you will soon understand why. Winter, especially the winter month of March, has a special place in my heart. Now is a special time. February and March are our sacred months. These are months when we protected our language and proclaimed our independence for all. What month can be a better time to reflect on where we came from, what kind of society we want to build, where we want to go, and how best finance can play its part. If we go back to February 1952 or March 1971, all the time preceding those years, it becomes self-evident that the language and the subsequent independence movements were inclusive. They drew their strengths from their deep roots into the society, from all classes and professions. Middle class and the poor, urban and rural, laborers and farmers, big and small. The mighty river of national aspiration grew out of collective dues of individual aspiration. For those of you here who are too young to remember or live through those times, I urge you to carry these thoughts back with you and think how finance can foster that aspiration. I also urge you to read the articles 8 to 21, the fundamental principles of state policy of our Constitution of 1972, to fully appreciate how our dreams and aspirations were inclusive from the very beginning. If you then read the recent Millennium Development Goals or Sustainable Goals, you will feel proud how our Constitution, particularly the architects of those constitutions, envision social inclusion, empowerment, and justice well ahead of its time. It is in that constitutional spirit we embark on institutionalizing this journey of social inclusion and empowerment through finance. Finance is and should be for the society, not the other way around, as we are so painfully reminded during the recent global financial crisis. Going back, Bangladesh started out in a war-torn setting beset with many challenges, and amid the difficult global environment of the 1970s. Mother Nature was not always kind to us either. Out of these challenges emerged the early inclusion efforts through microfinance, health, and other homegrown social innovations. As Bangladesh's steady march continued, our financing needs also evolved. Our financial system have grown and matured over the years, which enabled financing of a wider economic base. In recent years, we have actively leveraged the financial system for innovating and deepening empowerment initiatives. For example, in agriculture, MSME, mobile financial services, women entrepreneurship, green financing, improving the quality of our growth. These initiatives also boosted domestic demand, helping us navigate the external shocks, especially in the aftermath of the recent global financial crisis. You have already heard about the national landscape of financial inclusion strategy from Dr. Faisal Ahmed. I thought one of the finest presentations I have ever heard. Also, very good presentations from Anil Chaudhary. And of course, our international presenter, Dr. Nirmal Faranda, our old friend, who has gone into the villages of Bangladesh, seen for himself the financial inclusion works that we are undertaking. And his presentation has given us the best practice about the best practices all around the world, and also the role of Alliance for Financial Inclusion, where Bangladesh plays a very important role. Dr. Nirmal's point that central banks play the pivotal role in most countries is indeed well taken. Bangladesh Bank remains ready to move the strategy formulation in every possible way with strategic support from the Ministry of Finance and the Prime Minister's office and other stakeholders around the ground. But there is more to do to deepen and to widen the access, to add products such as insurance, as our BFID secretary was speaking about, to develop institutions and industries such as pension, particularly pension in the private sector. I think this is an area where we need to develop a lot, in fact, and there is a huge demand for it, there is a huge scope for it, and I think our regulator from the insurance sector should really focus on this. There is a huge potentiality here. The government, in fact, as Dr. Aslam Alo was telling, also there is a huge potential for improving our capital market, and there too, we can have a lot of participants, particularly if we can formulate long-term, bond, green bond and other bonds, and so that people can participate in another dimension of financial inclusion. The government has taken an active participatory and learning by doing approach toward financial inclusion. Bangladesh Bank provided all support to move this agenda forward. Our approach has been bottom-up with a focus on maximizing impact, including the excluded and empowering the vulnerable. The experience and lessons gathered thus far make it an opportune moment for us to review, discuss, and force a national financial inclusion strategy. The strategy can help us better leverage the synergies across initiatives, agencies, and programs through consultation, collaboration, and innovation. The strategy of formulating inclusion has to be inclusive itself, and that's why we have gathered all agents, all the participants from all the agencies and the sector. Our target is very, very clear. It is financial inclusion for all. Let me here quote Tagore, which I always normally do, and probably you have heard about that. Tagore once said that we have been using this castor oil for lighting in our houses. But how long will go on doing this? He said, of course, not very long. We need electricity. And then immediately the next line was, we need electricity for all. I think this is also true for financial inclusion. We need, of course, financial inclusion, but we need financial inclusion for all. In Bangladesh, echoing our national aspirations, as I was elaborating, we have to work together to make finance work for all, to make our financial access universal. I hope you are in the open discussions and the panel discussion, you will all make your points, and I would really urge you to make your points as frankly as possible and keeping the national interest in your mind. I'm not going to respond to specific points raised by our BTRC chair on who will take what steps for strategic reasons. We have received many proposals from different stakeholders and citizens. We are collating these suggestions and hope to come up with a more robust mobile financial service guideline, which will have our national and in particular citizens' interest at the center. I'll not elaborate more on this. Let's work hard and together, and let's move ahead together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Honorable Governor of Bangladesh Bank, Dr. Atiu Rahman. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gracing the occasion as chief guest, Principal Secretary, Prime Minister's Office, may I have the honor to call upon Mr. Muhammad Abul Kalam Azad to please address the distinguished gathering.
Dear friends, let me start with the Valentine's greeting. My best love to all of you. And also the best respect for our Bengali language. Amar Mayer Bhasha, Bangla Bhasha, Bangla Bhasha. Let me start with the comments from our speaker, Faisal and Anil. Faisal was telling that it might be a conspiracy of the consultants, and Anil told that it might be a consultancy for the people. Let me add this together. It is not a conspiracy at all. It is a planning by the consultants for the people. And the last word which has been told by the Honorable Governor, for all the people, inclusive. So this is the gist of this today's session. Yes, about the financial inclusion. Basically, when the microfinancing started, it started with the microcredit. Now we have the paradigm shift. We used to tell this is micro savings. And one of the big projects of the government is the 80 by 80 Khamar. They have their fund of 400 million. And out of this 400, 300 is owned by totally owned by the poor people. But this 300 million is the contribution of the poor people. So we need to look into that, yes, we have the micro savings system, digital, and we need to have the system of inclusion of all the people. The two things I believe is very important. One, the people should rely the system that it is secure. And number two, system is very easy, which Ali told in terms of TCV, and the system, how do we develop. Also, we have the discussion of Dr. Nirmal about the best practices. Yes, maybe we need to add some of the best practices to make a very effective system. Sometimes it is told that no system is a system also. As Dr. Aslam was telling that yes, in the last 40 years, we did not think about having a very calculative strategy for the financial inclusion, but somehow or other we have developed, we have progressed with 6.5% of our GDP growth. Maybe this year we will have the 7%. Honorable Prime Minister, normally she used to tell that we used to work for the marginalized people. Two basic criteria. One is social safety network program, which is expanding day after day with so many products. If you look into the different types of scholarship, different types of support from the government for the poor, widow, aged people, freedom fighters, and so many. And some other social economic program also, food for work or VGA for VGD. And these are now branding with the 10 taka accounts and all this. You see, earlier, the government servants used to get their salary from the bank, used to deposit, give the check and get the money. Now all the money is transferred to bank account. So now he has to maintain one account. Earlier it was not. Maybe I passed my 10-15 years life, I could, without having any bank account as a government servant. But now, each of the government servants, they need to have one account. So if there is an account, there is a system for the savings also. I will not mention the facts and figure of financial inclusion up till now. Only thing is this, that full service banking with savings. This is, Anil mentioned about 5,000 digital center, along with the 8,500 post office. This will be also a digital center, and this can be used along with the banks also. They are doing the agent banking. We need to work with all these G2G payment, G2P payment, P2G payment, and P2P, all these four. If we look into all these aspects, everyone is moving ahead, moving forward. And also the rural e-commerce, e-marketing, and also the financial inclusion with the digitization is the e-tendering. Government has a target to have all the tendering process using the electronic devices by December of this year. So, the title, Building the Government Architecture for Digitizing Government Payment in Bangladesh, and also Better Than Cash. These two also we are working with. Some of the most important thing with our GDP, the GDP versus savings, savings versus investment, and income versus savings, all these are not in a very good shape. So if we introduce the digitized system, financial inclusion, then obviously the ratio of income and savings, the ratio of GDP and savings will increase, drastically they will increase. So if we summarize, we need the micro savings system and homegrown strategy, the top-down policy and bottom-up development, and also inclusion of digitization with this. We have the target of 2021 middle-income country, but we will not stop here. We see about how much? 85 years from now, by 2021 middle income country, which Honorable Prime Minister is total. And we have the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. Already, Bangladesh government has this SDG practicing with all these ministries, having their work plan time bound with specific parameters. And also, for implementing this, in the government process, we have the Annual Performance Agreement, APA. All the ministries have signed Annual Performance Agreement with the Cabinet Secretary. That is the minister agreement between the Honorable Minister and the Prime Minister virtually. So, through Annual Performance Agreement, our 7 5-year plan, and then 2021, then 2030, and also we look for 2041, which is our 70 years of our independence. And also we are planning for 2100 Delta Plan. So Bangladesh looks forward from now 85 years. Obviously we will be able to achieve the flourishing Bangladesh of Bangabandhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Chief Guest, Principal Secretary Mr. Mohammad Abul Kalam Azad, for gracing the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now have the pleasure to call upon Mr. Shubhanshu Kumar Sood Chaudhary, Deputy Governor of Bangladesh Bank and Project Leader, BFBB, way forward.
Warmest thanks to Honorable Principal Secretary, Prime Minister's Office, and today's Chief Guest for his invaluable summarization and guiding words to develop a national financial inclusion strategy for Bangladesh and really a dream for future Bangladesh. I thank to our guest of honor and Honorable Governor, Bangladesh Bank, as you all know, who has paved the way of financial inclusion in Bangladesh. Dr. Atiur Rahman, special guest, Dr. M. Aslam Alam, Secretary Ministry of Finance, who always guides us, advises us for boosting the financial inclusion in the banking system. Dr. Shahjahan Mahmood, BDRC Chairman. I also thank to today's distinguished panelists and moderator of the panel for their noteworthy reflections on the presentations. And obviously, we have changed our module, and there's a larger moderator, Dr. Binayak Sen is here, who will be moderating the panel after this session. And many new things will come out which will help us to formalize our national financial inclusion strategy. We have witnessed two fantastic presentations from Dr. Faisal Ahmed and Mr. Anil Chaudhary, and demonstrations, the previous and ongoing happenings on financial inclusion in Bangladesh, and many thanks to them. And special gratitude and my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Nima Al Fernando for illustrating the global experience and guiding us what is to be done in near future while finalizing our strategy. At the closing leg of this dialogue, we can visualize the probable outline of national financial inclusion strategies for Bangladesh. National financial inclusion strategies for Bangladesh will nothing but be the big west of national sustainable development strategy, national social security strategy, national social protection strategy, 5-year plan of the government, and obviously the flagship plan of the government, perspective plan 2010 to 2021, because NFIs will be part of a journey to make the Vision 2021 a reality in the future. And obviously, in a very short and big way, very nicely and elaborately, our chief guest has elaborated and hinted about the way to make it successful. In this process, digitization and ICT will be the key weapon to track and implement enterprise, because digitization democratizes and enhances both efficiency and inclusion, while it expands inclusion from the financial to social services. Moreover, our mission is to build digital Bangladesh, which is the reincarnation of the vision of Sonar Bangla, the dream of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Following the successful innovations in e-governance from our Honorable Prime Minister's Office, like National Portal Framework, Digital E-Service, E-Center, Jatiyo Tothyo Kosh, Civil Registration, Final Statistics, Visual Statistics, e-Budget, Indian Digital Center, National E-Service System, enterprise will be another big break by the government of Bangladesh to make our bottom-up development process more inclusive and sustainable. All the government agencies, along with the private sector and civil sector organization, will certainly be involved in the process. Yet, Bangladesh Bank, as a central bank of the country, will work hard beyond its mandate and widen its scope of functionality when it has been doing for more than first half of a decade. Inclusive monetary policy, promoting inclusive and sustainable finance, designing financial products for the poor and the underserved, diversifying service delivery channel, digital financial services, digitizing financial sector architecture, strengthening consumer protection framework, liberalizing foreign exchange flows have been broadened the boundary of financial sector into a greater region, which will continue in future to support the development agenda of the government. There will be a credit, there will be innovation, there will be inclusion, yet there will be vigilant supervision to make all these efforts sustainable. As all of today's presenters, panelists, speakers mentioned, it is the time to consolidate and coordinate these initiatives in a strategic form to reduce two types of barriers to financial inclusion. Supply side barriers such as transaction costs and poor regulatory frameworks, which hinder the quantity and quality of the financial products and services, and the demand side barriers such as financial literacy and socio-economic elements, which restrain the capacity of the individuals to access the available services of the products. Although as a central bank of the country, we have taken many steps and initiatives for the financial literacy movement. Bangladesh needs national financial inclusion strategy. The need has also been felt at policy level, which has driven us to sit together and discuss today. Today's gathering is the first start. We hope today's dialogue will smoothen the path to draw down the framework of financial inclusion strategy for Bangladesh, which will expedite our journey towards the inclusive growth and achieving zero hunger mission of the government, which has been declared by our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We strongly believe enterprise for Bangladesh will also be guided by the four priorities of the government for inclusion. Number one, strategic framework to introduce a government-wide electronic payment, upscaling of the current public transfer management system, design and introduction of the new savings, credit and insurance products, and behavior change and communication. I thank to the organizer of this event, especially the officials from the Ministry of Finance, Honorable Prime Minister's Office, my colleagues from Bangladesh Bank, as well as BFP staffs. Let us all move towards a more inclusive, sustainable, and stable society, corroborated by the prosperity and equity at all levels. Let me conclude here, over here by quoting one speech, 2 lines from our Nobel laureate poet, রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুর। একা খেলে পেট ভরে, সকলে মিলে খেলে পেটও ভরে, আনন্দও বাড়ে। আসুন সবাই আমাদের এই সম্পদটাকে সবাই মিলে ভাগ করে ইরাক ন্যাশনাল ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল ইনক্লুশন স্ট্র্যাটেজি, অ্যাক্সেস টু ফাইন্যান্সে সকল মানুষকে নিয়ে এসে এই দেশটাকে আমরা সোনার বাংলায় করে তুলি। এই কথা বলেই আমার বক্তব্য ফেব্রুয়ারি মাসে এখানেই শেষ করছি। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। প্লিজ এনজয় দি নেক্সট সেশন।
Thank you very much indeed, Session Chair, Mr. S. Kisur Chaudhary. Ladies and gentlemen, now Dialogue Women Bureau representative, your distinguished